sweets, you're welcome back to another interesting tutorial. So today we're going to be making this lovely style. I'm going to be cutting the down part first because the down part is a fillet. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the down part. So my client's total gown length is 62. I'll be minusing the waist length out of it. So our waist length is 17. So 17 minus 62, that's going to give me 45. So the length of the fillet is going to be 45. And of course, you know, you need to add your allowance. Okay. There is a detailed tutorial of how to cut fillet on the channel. You can go check it out so that you understand the folding. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the triangular folding so that I can cut the down part first. I want it to have a little bit of pleat. So I'll rotate my radius. The radius is 13.5. Your radius is your waist circumference divided by 3.14. And if you want it to have pleat, you increase your waist circumference so that you will have access to pleat. Okay. So I'll have a little bit to create pleats. Now I'm going to cut the hand. The hand is going to be a little bit big. Okay, so I'm going to be cutting the sleeve. It's going to be a puff sleeve. So this fabric is folded into 4 so that we can cut the 2 hands together. Because it's going to be puffy. Long sleeve length is 25. So I'm going to add extra. I need it to have extra 3 down and extra 3 up. So that's 6 plus 25, that will be 31. Then I'm going to create elastic channel at the down part. So let's say 1.5 for that. So that's going to be 32.5. So the length of this sleeve now is going to be 32.5. So this is it. From here to here is 32.5. Then I will measure. A cap height on the norm is supposed to be 5, but because it's going to have pleat here, like puff sleeve, okay, so instead of that 5, I'm adding additional 3. That's going to be 8 inches. Okay, can you see it like this? Then next is to come to this 8 inches. You put the round here, you put the armhole length. Our armhole length is 8.5. Then I'm going to put allowance an extra 3, okay, because we are creating puff sleeve. Then just create like this. See the way I made it. This is our inverted S shape. Then here is just unfold like this. The total that I have here is 15. It's 15, okay. So you're just going to connect it like this. Can you see? Like this. Then at this down part, I'm going to come up by 3 inches. 3 inches like this. And I'm going to create a curve this way. See the way I've done it? Okay, so now you can have it like this, or you can shape it a little so that it's not too wide around here. So here, let me just put 10 inches here. 10 inch. So I'm going to just do it this way. Then can you see? So that it's not so wide here. Then I'm going to cut it out. That's the sleeve. So can you see there will be elastic here at this down part, and there will be pleating at the upper part here, like this, around the shoulder, and this is what you have. The sleeve is ready. Now we are going to cut the body, and I'll be drafting that on the lining. So this fabric is folded into 4. We are cutting front and back together. So before I start, I'm going to roll 1 inch allowance here. This is going to be zip allowance as well as center front joining, because it's going to have joining right in the center, at the center front. Okay, so first off, I'm going to measure the length of the armhole. I'm going to use 8.5 for the armhole. Then the waist length is 17 with allowance. Okay, so just, I don't want to put too much shock, so I'm not going to extend this line like this. Okay, so here I'm going to put the shoulder divided by 2. My client's shoulder is 16 divided by 2. That's going to be 8 inches, but because it's going to be a puff sleeve, instead of putting the 8, I'm going to put 7.5. It's going to be a puff sleeve. Okay, so that's 7.5. You put the same 7.5 here, and you're going to connect. Then I'm going to measure 3 inches here. 1 at this part, so that I can slant the shoulder. Then put your seam allowance back, 1/2 inch seam allowance. Then you can finish the armhole by placing the French cuff this way. So just locate the middle of the armhole so that you can input the front armhole cuff. So this is the midpoint. At this midpoint, you come in by 1/2 inch. Connect it back to the shoulder tip this way, and then you finish it up this way. Can you see? Just like this. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to put the circumference measurement. My client's bust circumference is 38 divided by 4. That's going to be 9.5. You put the 9.5. Then you put your seam allowance. Then here on the waistline, you're going to put the waist circumference divided by 4. My client's waist circumference is 33 divided by 4. That will be 8.25. So I'm going to be adding 1.5 for the dart, 1.5 for the dart, and then my 2 inches allowance. Okay, then it's going to be like this. Can you see? Next is to put the neck line. So for the back neck depth, I'm going to be doing 1.5, and the neck width we are going to be doing 3.5 for the neck width. Then you connect it together, this way. Then for the front neck depth, you know, it's going to be close a bit, so I'll just, for the front neck depth from the M line, I'll come up by 3.5 inches, 3.5 inches, and then from the neck width I'll just connect it to that point this way. Just take a look at the way I'm doing it. Can you see? So if I'm cutting, I'll cut the back neck first before cutting the front neck. Okay, can you see? So the back is ready, the front is ready. So this first one, like this, I'll remove it. It's going to be for the front, then this is going to be the back. So what I'll do, from here I'm going to go in by 3/4 inch, and I'm just going to connect it this way. This is just me slanting the zip allowance so that the zipper at the back is not going to budge. Can you see? So I'll cut it off. Then again, from here I'll come up by 1. From the beginning I'll come up by 1 and also slant it back to the side seam this way. Can you see? So we are going to cut this out. So the zip allowance is 1.2. So 1.2. The waist length is 8.2. And allowance that I want for the sewing is 2. So here I have extra 3, so meaning my dart is going to be 1 inch. So from this your zip allowance now, you can rule your zip allowance now. So from the zip allowance, you measure your nipple to nipple distance. My client's nipple to nipple is 7.5 divided by 2, that will be 3.75. So you put it here like this. Okay, so this way your dart is going to be, and your dart is going to stop 1 inch before you get to your armhole. So for the back dart, so because it's 1 that is left now for the dart, so that's half here and half here. Okay, so this is our dart. So this is the back dart. Okay, see, after slanting the zip allowance, the measurement is 8.25, right? This is it, and I'm left with 3 here, and I need 2 for my seam allowance. Okay, so that's the remaining 1 here is the dart intake. Hope it's clear. If you have any question, please kindly leave it in the comment section. You know I will always reply you. So I'll use this to cut the main fabric. Don't forget to notch the dart position, or you transfer it however convenient. Okay. And as for the front, you reshape the front armhole. Reshape the front armhole like so. Cut off the front. See the way I'm cutting it. This is the front neck. Can you see? Then you slice here. So this is the front. We're going to be cutting it now on our fabric. So don't forget to put the position of the front dart. So your dart position is your nipple to nipple distance. Your dart position is on nipple to nipple distance divided by 2. So from this line, you measure inward on the waistline. And nipple to nipple distance is 3 points. Our nipple to nipple distance is 7.5. 7.5 divided by 2. That's 3.75. So you measure 3.75. So this is the dart position. You're gonna roll it upward. But you need to measure her nipple point. Her nipple point is 11, so your dart is stopping 1 inch below the nipple point, which is going to be 12. So here, this is where the front dart is stopping. So we added 1.5 for the dart, so that means you have 3/4 on both sides of the line, 0.75 on both sides of the line. Okay. You see, so notch your dart position and transfer it. So if you open it up, this is what you've got. So the next thing we are going to do now is to go and sew it. So I'm going to start with the front, and I'm going to put my dart. So can you see? So the next thing is just to join the center front. You also do the same thing on the main fabric. So you keep the front aside and work on the back. You sew in your darts. So the next thing you have to do is just to join front and back together at the shoulder. So you can see I've joined the front and back together at the shoulder. So the next thing is just to repeat this same step on your lining. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just to measure from the, it's going to have zipper. So just keep your zip allowance. See, there's still shock on my zip allowance here. So I'll skip my zip allowance. So from here, I'll measure round the neckline, starting from the back now, all the way to the center front. Whatever it is, that's going to be the length of the collar, okay? And you're going to have your seam allowance to it. So whatever it is, let me measure so that I can tell you what it is. So after measuring the neckline, I got 18 and a half. 18 and a half. So that you open it and measure, or you fold it into two and measure, anyone, because you have separate collar for each side. So when I measure now, starting from where the notching of the zipper is, I got 18.5. 18.5. So you need two, one here and one here also. So my fabric is folded into 4. So for the width of the collar, I'm going to be making it to be 5 inches. Then the length is 18 and a half. And don't forget we're adding seam allowance to it. So the seam allowance is going to be half. So instead of 18 and a half, I'm going to measure 19. So this is 19. Can you see? So from here to here is 5 that I measured. And I'm just going to connect it this way. Then I'm going to slice this piece. So the next thing I'm going to do now is just to put my interfacing so that it can have structure. Okay, so I've ironed interfacing on it. So the next thing I'm going to do now is just to fold it like this into 2. Can you see, like this? I'll take to my machine. From here, I'm going to make my stitch all the way to this point. Then I'll turn it to the good side and iron. Repeat the same thing to the second side as well. So you stitch with 1/2 inch. When you're done, you notch. If you have to debug, you debug it as well. You need anything?
Did not get to place because your stores never get to place. And it probably good teachers or something. I don't know. I'm not gotten a place. If not, she want to come here. Was Christy.
Okay. So the next thing is just to put the collar. You're just going to put the collar like this all the way to this point. Then you put your lining on top of it and turn. So just watch the way I'm going to do it on the machine. Sorry. I've loosened the center front so that I'll just turn here first before I will now join back the center front. So just take one side of the front and back like this and then turn the neck area. Just the way you're seeing it. So I'll stitch the side seam. Then for the back, you stitch the side seam as well as the zipper side. So you notch and turn to the good side and iron. Repeat the same thing to the second side. Have something like this. Can you see? So you just join the two fronts together. You already have your joining allowance here, so just use it to join them at the center front. Okay, then you go ahead, attach your sleeve. We're almost done with the dress. So when you're done ending the lower part, you're going to cut your elastic. You just wrap your elastic around the circumference of your wrist, then you cut it out and then you insert it inside the elastic channel. Then after that, you're going to secure the elastic so that it's not going to escape inside. Then after that, just close the side of your sleeve just a little bit. Don't close it all the way to the armhole, okay? Then next is just to attach the sleeve to the bodice. So the next thing I'm going to do now is just to attach my sleeve. So before attaching the sleeve, you know it's having pleats around the shoulder to make it puff. So what I would do from the shoulder here like this, I'm going to measure 2.5 downward and I will notch. That's the area where my pleat is going to be. Do the same thing to the other side. So the next thing now is just to close the side and then you pull the flare. So the next thing I just attach the flare to the upper bodice, but before putting the flare, first in the lower part of the flare like this by just bending it the way I'm doing right now. And when you're done with this step, next is just to attach the flare to the body of the dress. Okay, so when you're done joining the down part to it, the next is just to use your lining and turn it on the waistline. I don't know. When I was doing mine, the camera wasn't capturing it. So let me just explain to you. So you just cut 3 yards of lining or depend on your circumference measurement. So you are just going to place the lining directly on top of it like this. Then you place the lining round the waist circumference like this, just the way you've seen it. Just the way it is right here. I've done it already. Then basically that's how to turn it with the lining. So when that is done, you turn it out like this. And this is how it is. Can you see? Then from the good side, this is what you have. Next is just to close the center back and then you fix your zipper. And your dress will be ready. And that will be the end of the class for today. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to type in "You're sweet." I'll see you next time. Bye. I love you.